Alrighty, welcome everyone back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a great day so far. So far we have Proxy, we also have Maggie's in here as well as Legacy. Glad to have all you guys in the chat as well as everyone else who's watching who may not be chatting. Glad to have you here as well. Alright, let me just do a quick double check on everything, make sure that camera's on. It sure is. I didn't check the camera. Okay, remember one time I didn't check the camera and it was glitching out like crazy. The one time I didn't check it, so I kind of expected that to happen today. Thankfully, it didn't. So we're going to go over, obviously, the, did those? Oh, okay. So you can see those winter storm warnings they issued in like the last 2 hours there. For a second, I thought those were new warnings. I mean, they kind of are. They issued them in the last hour or so. Also issued a lot more winter weather advisories back out in here over the last hour or two. So a little bit new watches, rather a little bit more new advisories and warnings there from the National Weather Services out here. So yeah, we're going to be taking a dive on into the winter storm that is likely to be a major winter storm. But there's honestly, there is honestly a lot of uncertainty, y'all. I'm struggling. I told my family, I told them, I was like, you know, we're probably going to get about 4 inches of snow. I know the forecast, like we've seen some forecasts so far, pretty bullish. Like right now, even the National Weather Service's forecast in my neck of the woods is on the higher, and they're forecasting almost 8 inches over here. And that's kind of on the high end, to be honest with you. So I told my family, you know, closer to probably 4 inches, maybe 5 if we're lucky. But honestly, I really don't even buy that, honestly. I think we're going to have a very sharp cutoff here, and we're not going to be seeing like a higher end snowfall event like some of these model ones are portraying. I'm just very skeptical. It's so rare that we get like the perfect setup. This is a great setup. The problem is I still feel like our atmosphere is going to somehow just kind of screw us over. But anyways, I wanted to just kick off with probably the rarest graphic that we've seen out here in the Carolinas ever since 2018. And some of these totals, if they actually come to fruition, will be the biggest snowfall totals ever since, I believe, in 1989 or something like that. Ever since that great blizzard back in like the 80s or 90s. I could go just take a quick check for you guys. That way I will be able to make sure what year it was. It was 1989. Haha, I remembered it. Wow, shocker. Yeah, biggest snowfall totals being possible ever since 1989. Almost forgot it right when I looked at it. So this is, again, just to reiterate here, this is the higher end snowfall map. So these are not your expected snowfall totals. These are the high end, but it's very rare to see this type of high end scenario. Typically in the Carolinas with your major snowstorms, your high end is like 9 to a foot. 9 inches to a foot is like your high end. And you'll actually see a little sneaky number there. The big 2-0 sneaking in there in Sanford, North Carolina. So that's just extremely, extremely insane out here for Sanford, North Carolina. Again, even though it is the high end amount, just that being a possibility, there's a 10% chance that somebody in Sanford gets 20 inches of snowfall. Just that possibility is absolutely mind blowing, to be honest with you. And you can see there's really a higher end swath here. We've got kind of two swaths of those high-end potential snowfall totals. We've got the swath here across the coastal Carolinas for that main low pressure that's going to swing on by. And then we've got that secondary swath back out here kind of towards the Piedmont Triad, like right in here is our secondary swath. And these red snowfall totals, to be honest, I expect to shift more to the southwest. I don't think those high-end snowfall totals should be all the way up into Virginia, North Carolina border there. I think they should take the red that is north of Greensboro, this red up here, and I think they should shift it to the southwest, because that's what we've been seeing over the last couple of hours, even over the last day or so of model run trends, is a more shift towards those higher end snowfall totals, potentially going as far southwest as into central South Carolina. So I really do honestly disagree with the National Weather Services having, the higher end snowfall totals that far to the north. But still, it is a possibility. You never know with those overachieving snowstorms. Just in my opinion, I think there's a lot better chance that we see higher in snowfall amounts down here in Columbia than as for up here in like the North Carolina, South Carolina border. Here is Raleigh's official expected snowfall graphics map. Now, of course, they don't go all the way up into Virginia, but they have been kind enough to just plot a few little plots up here. So you can see our expected snowfall totals are right about 9 inches to a foot for much of the Piedmont Triad areas in North Carolina, all the way up into the Outer Banks of North Carolina, upwards of 14 inch. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, the high end is 17 inches. And the expected is 14. Typically, you're not that close with your expected and high-end totals. That's pretty rare. That's pretty rare to see only a 3-inch difference between your expected and your high-end snowfall totals there. That caught me off guard. So anyways, again, really like 9 inches to a foot across much of the Piedmont Triad and NC all the way to the coastal Outer Banks there in the Carolinas. And I do think we'll see blizzard warnings tonight. Or maybe tomorrow. It depends on the timing, but I think we'll see blizzard warnings. Let me go back to that map again. Yeah, see, we aren't quite yet into that range. I think we'll see our winter storm warnings in here tonight, and then I think we'll see blizzard warnings tomorrow for the coastal areas of the Carolinas. I think we'll end up with those blizzard warnings, especially for the Outer Banks. Back out in here where those wind gusts could approach upwards of 55, 60 miles per hour. I'd be pretty shocked if we don't get those blizzard warnings. Honestly, a little surprised we don't have those blizzard watches out just yet. You can see they do mention possible blizzard conditions there at the bottom paragraph. Prepare for possible blizzard conditions and continue to monitor the situation for the latest forecast and updates on this. And look at that. Wind gusts as high as 65 miles per hour with snowfall of 10 to 16 inches. So honestly, don't know why this is not a blizzard warning, to be honest with you. That is blizzard warning criteria right there. Wind gust as high as 65 miles an hour and 10 to 16 inches of snow. That is 1,000,000,000% blizzard warning criteria for the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And even if we go inland, let's go to Greenville. 50-mile-an-hour winds and 8 to 14 inches. That is easily blizzard conditions. Let's go even into Raleigh. Let's see if we can somehow get it into Raleigh. Almost blizzard conditions. 35-mile-an-hour wind gust is not quite blizzard conditions. I believe blizzard conditions is sustained winds of about 25 to 35 with wind gusts of 45. So not quite blizzard conditions possible into central NC. Maybe intermediate blizzard conditions where like you get that big gust of wind for like 2 seconds and you end up with intermediate blizzard conditions. But the main chance for blizzard conditions will stick towards the shoreline back out over in here and probably stop. Let's see, what about Smithville? Or is that Smithfield? Smithfield. even that's 25 to 35. Goldsboro 25 to 35. Kingston 50. So yeah, one county, man. You go from 25 to 35 to 50 mile-an-hour wind gusts in one county. Look at that. So I do think we'll see the chance for blizzard conditions. If you live anywhere in this region, I think we'll have a chance for blizzard conditions. And I think we will see blizzard warnings, maybe watches, but I would be pretty confident in blizzard warnings across much of this area and here, from Wilmington, North Carolina, through Jacksonville, New Bern, all the way back up even into maybe Plymouth, as far west as Plymouth there, even up towards Elizabeth City, Hertford. I'm not familiar with Eastern North Carolina as well as I am with Central and Western. And then, yeah, even Norfolk. You just said Norfolk blizzard. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. Let's see what they say. Yeah, definitely, in my opinion. Definitely going to be seeing blizzard conditions, and probably going to be seeing those blizzard watches or warnings in the next about 24 hours. So yeah, if I had to guess, like this entire area in here, just to kind of throw... what about Windsor here? 40, that's close. Just kind of throw like a guess in here. Generally this area. This is my guesstimate of blizzard watches and warnings. Like right in here. And I don't quite think Myrtle Beach... Myrtle Beach is going to be like on the edge of it. Myrtle Beach will be on the edge of the chance for a blizzard watch or warning. We may get like one county into South Carolina, or we may stop at Wilmington. But I think those areas, the areas I just drew in white, these areas right in here, I think we'll end up with blizzard warnings. So I think the entire eastern coastline of North Carolina and like one or two counties into Virginia, and maybe one county in South Carolina. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. And even though those snowfall totals are very aggressive from the National Weather Service out here, these are extremely aggressive totals. Foot to 14 inches out here in the coastal areas. Actually, it looks like 10 inches to 14 inches in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Definitely very, very aggressive. I think that is honestly more the higher end scenario. Overall, I think the National Weather Service is pretty aggressive. Based on what I've seen today, it looks pretty aggressive, the numbers that they're putting out here. And then, of course, I'm going to mention the low end. This is the low end. Although the low end is pretty rare to verify, I do think somebody in North Carolina is going to verify with their low end because of dry air. You got to be very unlucky. I think the most likely area for dry air is probably directly over Central NC. So Raleigh, Sanford, Fayetteville, even into Rockingham, far south central North Carolina, you guys are in a big time boomer bust scenario. You could end up with 4 or 5 inches of snow, or you could end up with 16 to 18 inches of snow. You are in a huge boomer bust scenario if you are in central North Carolina. Huge boomer bust. I also want to take a look here at their graphical hazards. Okay, so they've put pretty much their entire jurisdiction under an extreme winter storm risk here for Saturday into Saturday night for snow. What about for cold? Also a significant risk for cold as well across a good chunk of their jurisdiction on the southeast counties and the west counties. And I also want to go check, let's see, home. I want to go check you guys for... Oh, crap. That's Raleigh again? What the heck? I want to get more coastal. Give me Wilmington. Yeah. There you go. Ah. See the wind risk? That wind risk is major. Major or moderate, whichever one it may be. It's red. It's 3 out of 4 in this case. 3 out of 4. A major risk for damaging winds. Just simply because of the system. So I expect those blizzard warnings for the entire Outer Banks of North Carolina. And like I said, I think those could go inland too. Maybe even as far as Kingston. And you know, I do got to go check now. Real quick. Just take a quick peek at this. Okay. But I want to go take a quick look over here at Martinsville. Wind? Oh, okay. Gonna say, why is it a major risk? So these are localized blizzard conditions. Back out here will probably be only at the highest elevations. But you could see, even with those winds, because we'll have very strong, probably westerlies to northwesterlies, you could get some of those intermediate blizzard conditions even into like Mount Airy, maybe even as far east as here in Martinsville, maybe as far east as just to the west of Lynchburg. Definitely a possibility for brief blizzard conditions. I do not think we will be seeing blizzard warnings into Virginia unless it is in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Check your area. I don't exactly. You're probably going to know where you are in this map. I don't really know exactly where you are. Yeah, so do you know if you're like, are you like right here? Or are you a little bit to the west? Which county are you in? I forget. I forget if you're like over here or if you're like over here, closer to Bristol. I forget which side of that border you're on. West, so you're more over here. So you are in not Blacksburg's jurisdiction. You should be in, what is that, Knoxville? National Weather Service, Knoxville or Jackson? Knoxville, I think. Oh, it's Morristown. It's not Knoxville anymore. The National Weather Service is right around Knoxville to Morristown. It was somewhere in there. Hey, at least I had a decent guess. So you know, this is MRX. Remember that. MRX. So we're going to do this. And we're going to do... Is that the right link? Oh, hold on. You know what I'm going to do real quick? Let me refresh that. MRX, is that what it was? Aha! Ta-da! Because I didn't see it on their main page. Normally they have it on their main page. So are you like near here? Are you at significant for the snow sleet risk? You're either in significant or elevated. And then for winds, yeah, not much of a risk for winds. Not much of a risk for those winds, honestly. At least for the official outlook from your National Weather Service there. Take a look here at... I hate all these models. I don't like the high-res models for this event, honestly. I don't think the high-res models have a hold on this at all. I really don't think they have a hold on it. We'll use the 18Z HRRR, but I really don't think it has a good grasp on things. So you could see where those blizzard conditions will be a possibility. There's a pretty sharp cutoff right there. So those wind gusts even stretch into South Carolina, with 25 plus mile-an-hour wind gusts being possible for intermediate blizzard conditions. Even though I do think the HRRR is underdoing those wind gusts. And if we go out a little bit further, you could see where I think those blizzard warnings will be issued. Blizzard watches or warnings will be issued sometime in the next 24 hours across the eastern portion of NC. So I expect blizzard conditions in this area, and I think blizzard conditions are possible in this area. Columbia, South Carolina, like I said, really, it's such a tough forecast. I really don't even... This is one of the harder forecasts, honestly, in my neck of the woods. I'm very, very iffy on it. I'll show you the official products, and then we'll dive also into the NBM, stuff like that. But here's your official forecast from the National Weather Service. They're forecasting a 1/10 of an inch over a half foot. 6.1 inches of snowfall there in Columbia. And I could also give you more of a range here too, because that's what NWS likes to do the most. 5 to 9 in Columbia is the official forecast. I think that's pretty good. I agree with that. And the ultimate high end is a foot. That's the absolute ceiling. Like if everything came together and absolutely perfectly lined up across your area, which is a 1 in 10 chance, you could get a foot. But I would say I would say a good number is 6. Yeah. 5 to 9 is your range, with 6 inches being likely, the most likely. And you can see here's your chance for 6 inches of snowfall. You're at a 60% chance. 8 inches, it drops to 36, and then a foot, it drops all the way down to just 11. I mean, shoot, you look at that. I mean, I can't believe we even have probabilities for 18 inches of snow on this map. Let's go back to North Carolina. I know we're jumping all over the place here like a maniac, but let's go back to Raleigh. And let's go to the snowfall probabilities. Let's go to 18 inches. Look at that. There's actually a greater than 1 in 10% chance in some cases here for Greensboro, Asheboro, Sanford, Fayetteville, Rockingham. All you guys are greater than barely greater than a 1 in 10 chance for 18 inches of snowfall. And then a 1 in 10 chance up there for South Boston, for Goldsboro. Fun fact, that's where I chased for Helene. It's where we chased for the potential of tornadoes for Helene, right in Goldsboro. Actually, that might have been... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Helene. That was either... No, my bad. I think that was Debbie, actually. Debbie. I confused the two. Because we had, like, me and Lucky both chased both of those. Helene was that insane flood in western North Carolina. And then I think Debbie was one of the bigger floods in this region. Like, for her tropical storm or hurricane, I think it was tropical storm Debbie, we had flash flood emergencies all over southern NC. But yeah, Goldsboro, you guys are looking pretty good for the chances of 6 to... what's y'all's forecast? 6 to 8 seems reasonable. 6 to 11. Wow. Yeah, 6 to 11 is y'all's range. Expected, what, 8 maybe? Pinpoint. Oh, wow. That's actually higher than I thought. So Goldsboro, your expected is 10 inches. Wow, so that's weird. Normally, when they do this range, like 6 to 11, they're going to go on the mid to lower side. So if you have a chance from, let's just use 6 to 12 for an example. If you have a chance for 6 to 12 inches of snow, they're going to put either 7 or 8. It's pretty rare that they're going to put like 9 or 10. You know, they're typically going to go on the conservative side because that's just the safer bet. So even like Greensboro, they're forecasting 8 inches for you. And the range is 6 to 14. So 8 inches is more in the middle and even close to the conservative side there. But yeah, I was thinking about chasing this winter storm, but honestly, it might be a little bit too significant for me to chase. There's what? That's like an 80% chance I get 4 inches of snow, so we'll see. We'll see. Do you think Virginia Beach is a good place to head for snow removal? To do snow removal? So, like, what do you mean? If you're trying to head there to, like, get away from snow, no. If you're heading there for, like, plowing, I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't be at liberty to say for plowing. All I know is that our road just got plowed today. That's all I know. It took them that long to plow roads were not priority. Well, I've never been to Virginia Beach, so I couldn't tell you. I can tell you the closer you get to your coastal areas, probably the heavier that snow is going to end up being. But even with that, like, there's been a bit of uncertainty with that, because you can see here, I just don't like our high-res models, but just kind of give you an idea. You know, we've got a bullseye setting up somewhere across North Carolina, maybe even into South Carolina. I think this might be a tad bit too far south. And then our secondary bullseye is closer to the coastal areas. But in this case, you could see, like, the NAM here. This area, the Outer Banks, y'all are forecasted to see 14 inches of snowfall from the National Weather Service. And our models, this particular model shows, like, literally 0. And even if we go to a little bit further out, let's use the actual NAM so we could go as far out as possible. You can see that big bullseye. That's a huge bullseye right there. That's just one huge bullseye instead of 2. You just got one huge bullseye there across NC, South Carolina, even up into Maryland. And you can see the Outer Banks still chilling at less than an inch. But now if we go to our global models, like the newest GFS 18Z, actually even that has lowered for the Outer Banks, but you can see that just paints a giant picture of a great snowstorm across much of North Carolina, almost the entire state, much of South Carolina, with the exception of back down there towards like closer to southwestern South Carolina, and then even up into Southern Virginia. Really good for the global models there. And then the Euro for the global models as well. You can see even that paints a very good picture across Virginia, North Carolina, even down into South Carolina. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know, dry air or mixing issue right there. I couldn't tell you unless we went for, yeah, probably just simply a little bit of dry air. Your temperature is a little bit too high at the coastal areas, 33 degrees. So maybe a mixture of both dry air and mixed precip. All right, let's go over to our blend of models. I'm going to be honest, haven't looked at this since yesterday. When we last did our live stream, I know it was down, but I know it came back up last night. So I know it's up again. Ben, neither. So what I think is pretty good is the 10-to-1 ratio, but in this case, act like it's 10 to or 15 to 1. Like it's closer to 15 to 1. That's honestly, I use the second one more. 10 to 1 I hate. I hate 10 to 1. 10 to 1 is often the most overused and often one of the more inaccurate snowfall totals, but the other one as well is not the best. So what I end up doing for snowfall totals is I like to look at the highest resolution model available at the time. So like if we would just go to here, go to the HRRR 18Z, boom. And then I go to the 10-to-1 ratio. And you can see how absolutely atrocious that is. That's terrible. So honestly, what I end up doing is using the other product. And sometimes I'll kind of like compare the two, which one's the more likely. Because 10 to 1, you can see 10 to 1 just doesn't work well. 10 to 1 just simply doesn't work well, in my opinion. So I really like the second option, but if the second option isn't available, I'll do the 10 to 1 and then like increase those totals by half. So for like 2.5 in Greensboro instead of 2.5, I would actually do, I'd say closer to 4 for Greensboro in this case. But I think the second option is always the better option. There's not a lot of cases where 10 to 1 is better, in my opinion. But really, there's no one and done scenario. Like, it just depends on who you ask. But honestly, I find the second option better. All right, let's look at our blend of models here for snowfall. This is our newest one comes out in, ooh, that looks really good. What? Why does that look so different than when I last, which one did I look at? Maybe I was looking at the wrong thing yesterday. Yeah, look at the difference. This is, I think this is the one I was looking at. Look at the difference. This is like not even but 12 hours ago. Exactly. Yeah, exactly 12 hours ago. Exactly 12 hours ago versus now. Wow. And the interesting thing here is, oh, there you go. There it is pulled out. Hold on. Let me go back to the old one then. Wow. The strange thing is that's not how it looks like on all of our models. Like the blend of models is a big uptrend, man. Like that is a huge uptrend. That is not a small uptrend by any means, but that's not even close to what our global models have been doing today, and not even remotely close to our high-res models. My goodness, our high-res models are atrocious to that. But like our global models downtrended in some areas today. Like Central NC, our run this morning had 14 inches in Central NC, and then the run now has 8. which is a downtrend very clearly. And then if I go to the euro, I'm doing this off screen, by the way, just so that way I'm not switching so much. The euro yesterday, Central NC, pretty good agreement. 14 inches, almost in line with the GFS, if not right in line with the GFS. And then the euro today for Central NC, 8. So a little bit weird how our blend of models, in my opinion, it seems a bit weird how they've uptrended there. You can see this is definitely, this is looking a lot more like the National Weather Service's forecast. Way more in line with the National Weather Service's forecast. So they're like, the NWS must be going mainly off of the blend of models. That must be what they're trusting the most. And even like the, yeah, even the ensembles from the GFS downtrended a bunch too. Look at this. I'll just show you this real quick. Look at this. This is the run from this morning. You can see how far that shifted to the south, but also look at the run from 6 hours ago. You could see the purple. Watch the purple. 6 hours ago versus now. So really, and if we go from yesterday, it should be a big downtrend. Look at yesterday versus today. So it's just strange because like all of our high-res models have just been on the low end of things. They've never technically downtrended. They've just been less aggressive overall. Once they rendered in, they were very much less aggressive than our global models. And then our global models have honestly kind of downtrended now. And now that both the global and the high res is showing lower totals in most areas, it seems like the blend uptrends. I find strange. But also a good thing for like out here in Georgia, by the way, we have seen a west shift for sure in the last couple hours. Now that doesn't mean the whole system shifts down to the south and west. That just means snow could be a little bit more west as a whole. So if I just show you here, we'll go off the blend onto our high res. You could see how we still see snow up here in the on the border of Virginia, North Carolina, as expected in the last couple days. But instead of it curling back and like stopping in western South Carolina, eastern Georgia, the HRRR has this heavy band of snow going even into central Georgia and almost getting into western Georgia. I'd honestly argue with that. Honestly, almost getting into western Georgia at that point. Definitely central Georgia, but you could see even some good banding there in western Georgia. Which we can't compare this to our run yesterday because our run yesterday is not going to go out that far. And if we go to the NAM, you can see the NAM is way more aggressive for sure with that lack of precip on the NC Virginia border. Definitely way more aggressive on that. You can see the HRRR continues snowfall for like literally an extra 12 hours. And I've kind of like the high-res Canadian here, honestly. The high-res Canadian is pretty clear on where those two heaviest bands set up. And it shows that dry air infiltration at the beginning of the event right over central NC and south central Virginia. Unfortunately, over my house, but I do like this model run the best, honestly. And then going into Saturday, you could see that banding stays across really much of North Carolina into Southern Virginia. And again, you can see how far west it is. You look at that. It's going into well west of Atlanta at that point. Even some flurries into eastern Alabama on this model run. And then it heads right out to sea. So I do like this model run quite a bit, but it's very aggressive with the coastal areas. And then it really just has the overall precipitation on the north side is just straight up not there. But I kind of like the idea that this model run is giving me. This model run's giving me the idea that there's one big band first tomorrow night into Saturday morning. Coastal low sets up, so a second band starts across central and eastern NC. Dry air prevents snow across central and kind of Greensboro. I'll just say Greensboro for a few hours. And then once those two lows kind of combine, we get that heavy banding going. But our system pulls out overall just early on this run. It kind of seems like our system runs away a little bit too quick here. It definitely does. Our system's gone quite a bit early on the high-res Canadian. But I kind of like the idea that the Canadian's given overall. I think somebody is going to see that low end. Fingers crossed it's not me, but I wish it would just be nobody. Hopefully everybody gets the high end here, but this is a brutal cutoff, by the way. Holy crap. Talk about a brutal cutoff. My goodness. I don't like this model anymore. Skip what I just said. Trying to give it some credit. Skip that. I hate this model. But no, like I said, I do think we'll see a good banding set up to the west and a really good banding set up to the east. And then I do think dry air is going to hurt totals. The question is, how long? Remember, in our last snowstorm, that was across Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. Eastern Oklahoma was like Tulsa, where Catman was. He was expected to get like a foot, and he ended up with 9 inches, 10 inches of snow, which is not bad. You know, that's only 2 inches, maybe 3 inches less than expected, which isn't horrible for a dry air event that overperformed. So that's the big question. Are we looking at a huge dry air slot where we're talking about like Greensboro currently expected to get 8 inches of snow, actually getting 1 inch? Or are we talking about Greensboro getting, expected to get 8 inches and actually getting 5 or 6 inches? How bad is that dry air? And that's just something you can't predict. That's just something you can't predict too well. With our last storm, it was easier to predict because we had essentially 2 different snowstorms. We had the first shortwave trough that disconnected from the cutoff low in California, and then we had the cutoff low itself from California. We had 2 different waves. Whereas with this, it's really just one wave. 2 low pressures. We're going to have a coastal low here, and then an upper level low back here. So it's really just 2 low pressures here. I don't know if the precip is going to show that too well. Yeah, the precip doesn't show it the best, but you do get a coastal low, like my bad. Yeah, okay, a coastal low over here and an upper level low over here. And so the heaviest banding is going to be in front of that low pressure over in here, and then to the west of that low pressure at the coastal area. Those would be where your 2 heaviest bandings set up. And again, you can see, look at in the middle on this model one. Let me zoom in for y'all. I don't know why I'm not zoomed in. You can see kind of in the middle of those 2 areas. Again, upper level low, jackpot for this upper level low. Coastal low, jackpot for this coastal low, and then a lack of precip in the middle. So you can kind of predict it. This model one shows it pretty well across Wilmington all the way back up into Raleigh, and even up as far north as going into crap, I forgot that town name. Henderson, that's what it is. Henderson, even as far north as into Henderson. But overall, the GFS, you could see just a little dry air slot actually takes a toll there in Raleigh, and back in snowfall is insane because you get a very quickly intensifying low pressure. There's a lot of questions with this. For a system that starts tomorrow afternoon, there is an absurd amount of uncertainty with this. It's insane. And I feel like it's been this way for both of our winter storms. Here's the 18Z. You can see the 18Z doesn't show much of an issue here with that. Oh, well, I mean, you could still see it. But it's not much of an issue. Why? Because your coastal low intensifies and it stays longer. It stays until, I mean, gracious, Wilmington, you're getting snow until Sunday, almost Sunday at noon on the GFS. Whereas with this model, I'm sure, yeah. Whereas with this model, when it clears out at like 8 a.m., that's a big difference. That's a 4-hour difference, man. That could be the difference between, honestly, that could be the difference between 8 inches in Wilmington and a foot or even 13 inches in Wilmington. So let's zoom out and give you the broader view here of what's causing our snowstorm. Sam, where are you again? I'll go into the broader view in just a second. I know he's somewhere in here. Yep. Southern Arkansas had the dry slot from our last storm. And there was actually a huge dry slot, but Southern Arkansas took the biggest hit from that probably. But yeah, it depends on where you are, Sam. I don't know exactly where you are. Oh, you're right here. Forecast 4 to 7 with wind gust 35. Let's see. Official forecast. Snow total. So official forecast is about 5 inches for you. It's hard to say. If I just go ahead and show you the model run here, this is one model. I think you've locked in 3 to 4, I think is locked in for you. But I wouldn't rule out locally higher amounts. Depending on how long that low pressure takes to get out of here. I think 3 to 4 is locked in, and higher amounts, 5, 6 inches is definitely possible if that low pressure slows down, which it seems like that's what the National Weather Service is banking on right now, considering they're forecasting 16 inches here in the Outer Banks. It seems like they're banking on that low pressure slowing down and amplifying quickly. What does this show? This shows 6. Okay, I'm not going to say the next number after that. 6 and the number after that inches for you. National Digital Forecast Database. Yeah, this is the official snowfall forecast from the National Weather Service, apparently. According to WeatherWise, this is the official snowfall forecast as of 23Z, which, as you can see there, was only about 40 minutes ago, which means it's not that bad at all. Sometimes those official forecasts are delayed by 6 to 12 hours, so 42 minutes is not bad at all. You know what? I just got an idea. I just got a big idea. I just got a big idea. You know what my big idea is here? Let's see the NAM versus the Canadian. The fact that there's not even that big of a difference. The Canadian is definitely more to the south and more amplified. It looks more compact and more amplified. And that's all it takes in a scenario like this. I didn't want to do the NAM 3K. Get out of here. Nobody likes that model run. So the Canadian is further to the south, which is really, really good. And also partially bad. Really good for an insane snowstorm for eastern NC, eastern, northeastern South Carolina. Horrible for a snowstorm if you are up in anywhere in Virginia, anywhere in West Virginia, anywhere even into the border of North Carolina and Virginia. You'd be wanting more of a NAM scenario, but even the NAM scenario for you, whilst it's definitely a better scenario for you, it's not the high end by any means. That's a lot of uncertainty. This is for 00Z Saturday night, Sunday morning. And let's just mark this. So there's your low pressure on the Canadian. There's your low pressure on the NAM, way more broad. Looks like an egg. And look at your low pressure on the GFS. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like, or I don't even have to say I feel like, gracious, that was a stutter and a half. It seems like our global models are way more in agreement. What about the wrap? Yeah, see, and then there's the wrap also kind of out on its own there, too fast. Like the GFS and the Canadian are almost in alignment. I can't even see where that line is. I've drawn too much. And then even the Euro here, the Euro looks to be just the tiniest bit further to the east kind of in between our Canadian and our GFS. Yeah, Grumpy Grandpa, this trend is not your friend. That's for sure. I don't think the New England states are getting much out of this at all anymore. Especially with the southern trend. If this does dig as far south as it goes, the Northeast will probably go with just some flurries in coastal Massachusetts, and that's it. This is a more southern event, and you can see flurries in eastern Massachusetts. The Euro amplifies everything, really. So, you end up with maybe 6 to 8 inches of snow out there, something like that. And then the Canadian is also decently far to the south. However, it doesn't amplify as well. So, only some flurries. Eastern Massachusetts is in like the same boat as Central NC. Boom or bust, right? Central NC could get anywhere between, literally, I'm not even kidding, 1 inch of snow to 16 inches of snow for Central NC. Your bust is 1 inch of snow because of dry air, and your boom is 16 inches of snow because of no dry air in a very well amplified system. Massachusetts, your bust is a little bit of flurries, like 1/10 of an inch of accumulation at best, for your low end ceiling. And then the high end for Massachusetts is probably like 10 inches, if I had to guess. So I'm sorry I'm not being too useful here. There's a lot of uncertainty with this system. There's just a lot. This is why I hate snow forecasting. I hate it. I despise it. Especially east of the Appalachians. Anything east of the Appalachians, severe weather, winter weather, hurricanes, anything east of the Appalachians is impossible to forecast. That's really how it feels like. Because of our mountains, that's what I blame it on. I think Charlotte is locking in at least 5 inches of snow, minimum, for Charlotte. I think you guys have really locked that in. What does your NWS say for Charlotte? Oh, great. Love when I can't even click it. Yeah, 4 to 7. I think you've locked in 4 or 5 inches. I think that's pretty much locked in for y'all now. Okay, so how does this make sense? Your watch is for 4 to 7 inches, but your forecast is 8.1. Huh? 4 to 7 inches possible, and your actual pinpoint forecast is 8.1. That makes no sense. So, like I said, I think you're locked in 4 to 5 inches. I think's locked in. I don't think Charlotte will have much of an issue with dry air. Like, this model says, what, 4? Yeah, this model says 6 inches. High-res Canadian says 6 inches. GFS says 6 inches. Euro says 8 inches. Even the crappy NAM even has... Where exactly is Charlotte? I think the NAM might be on the lower side. Charlotte's like right in... Trying to find the little bump. There's the little bump. That's the little divot. That little divot points towards Charlotte if you reverse it. This is a Charlotte snow hole on the NAM. That's what that is. That says like 3 inches for Charlotte, but the chance of that is honestly lower. Really low. Oh, and then look at the wrap. The wrap model. This really paints those 2 bands of heaviest snowfall the absolute best. Dry air might be a little issue in the middle, and then it doesn't have much moisture on the north side there. Yeah, so you can see like where I am in Martinsville, we just kind of get a mixture of light snowfall and then turn back into like nothing. And we do actually continue with a little bit of light snow, but like we're talking very low amounts. 2 to 3 inches. Ooh, I don't know. But yeah, see, that's why I told my parents. I said probably 4 inches of snow. That's what I was saying. 4 inches of snow for Martinsville. Because if you look at this, this says 7. This says 7. This says, what, 3? 3 to 4. And then that says 2, which I know you can't see it because it didn't go out. Yeah, okay, this says 1 actually. What does the blend say again? I want to look at that blend again. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, share the stream with your family, friends, social media. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new, consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all so you know when I go live tomorrow. We'll likely end up being live tomorrow, I have to imagine, because we're probably going to have a lot of changes. Why the heck does this shift so much? What's up with that? We're probably going to have a lot of changes tomorrow. So the blend says 9. And the blend says 10. Like, what the heck? Did you see that? I didn't even change it. It went from 9 to 10. Look at that. It's uptrending in real time. Blend of models is uptrending in real time right there. Hello? Let's go to the probability. Should I tell my family if we're getting closer to 5 inches of snow? What's the probability of not 40 inches of snow? Golly. 4. 77% chance of about 4. Uptrending in real time. 80% chance. 80% chance of 4 inches of snow. Yeah, so I should probably tell them closer to 6. But see, last time I did that, everything downtrended the day after, so I always stay on the lower end. I always stay on the lower. Now, when I do communicate to you guys, I'll be honest, when I communicate to you guys, I do tend to say more of the medium to the high end. But towards my family, it's just the fact that I know how many events underperform in my neck of the woods. Which is why this whole live stream, you've heard me, I've been skeptical even of the National Weather Service forecasts. Them calling for such a widespread area of 8+ inches of snow. Which, let me go get that site, by the way. Let me go get the site here. WPC, winter weather, official forecast, expected amount. So here's the other site. This is the National Weather Service official forecast here. And again, you could see the orange is 8+ inches. And again, in my opinion, that's a pretty dang aggressive forecast. And then that is 12 to 15, I believe, right there in that orange. Yeah, 12 to 15. Oh, 12 to 16, actually. Because I saw 15.7. So, oh, definitely 16. Did you see that? There was a little pixel of 16 and a half. Ooh, 16.7. So actually up to 17 inches in some spots. Oh, man, you can't see that. Get over here. Let me show you. Let me show you. There's a little pixel right there. 16.7. So, yeah, if you're in that yellow there, that is 6 to 8 generally in this area. 6 to 8 in that area. And if you're in the orange, that is 8 to a foot, which is very roughly in here. You could see a bit of patches back out there in the mountains. And then if you're in the jackpot, that's right here where it's a foot to 17 inches in the jackpot. That's the official National Weather Service forecast right there. And there's the high end. So the high end here, the National Weather Service can recognize the high end. The high end is our coastal low amplifies sooner and is closer to the Carolina coastline and is slower. So what that would do is imagine this intense low pressure right here. Imagine this low pressure here. Where's that going to put the heaviest snowfall totals? It's going to put it up in here. That's where your heaviest snowfall totals are going to be if your low pressure's down here. It would be further to the north. And you could see, actually, even on this model run, that's pretty dang close to where the heaviest snowfall totals are. So your high end is definitely across central NC. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Never in my life. I don't even think they put numbers out for this in 2018. Hello? What? 22 inches of snowfall is their high end. There's a 10% chance of 22 inches of snow. Hello. Like what? I don't think I've ever seen that in my lifetime from an official forecast. Find that pixel again. Yeah, it's like right here. It's just barely southeast of Asheboro. Screenshot. Hold on. I'm going to screenshot the entire screen. Badoom. There we go. There we go. Fun fact, I actually have family who lives pretty dang close to that. Let me go back to the official forecast. Let me see that. Let me see that. So official forecast is 9 inches there. What's the low end amount? 5. Huh. Just a little bit strange with that. That high end is like that thing should be called ultra high end. Like that is upper echelon type of event. That would probably be that would have to be a record, right? There's no way North Carolina has seen that in ever. I don't think North Carolina has seen that. Oh yeah, also, let me show you guys this too. This is very important. A WSSI reaches out there. The Winter Storm Severity Index scale reaches out now. Any, mini, miny, mo. Found it. This is for tomorrow. This is for tomorrow. Tomorrow. We already have a huge swath of 2. Is that a 2, 1, 2, 3? Can't count. This is a huge swath of a level 3 out of 5 for impacts tomorrow night. 3 to 5 across that entire area. And this actually goes even all the way down to Athens, Georgia here. So that's for just tomorrow. That is only for tomorrow. Now watch this. Prepare to be amazed. I ain't seen this since 2018. This is for Saturday? Saturday. Which it looks like they shifted that a tad bit east. But looky there. We actually have a 5 out of 5 winter storm in that purple. 5 out of 5 in that purple area. And look at the ginormous area of the 4 out of 5 major winter storm. And that purple is blizzard. That's what that is. That purple is a blizzard. Because what it's doing is it's also accounting for snow drifts and blowing snow. So if I go and pull up this site, I guarantee if I go to the WSSI normal site here, and I go to, let's see here. Yeah, and I go to blowing snow. Look at this. The blowing snow risk is extreme out here in very slim portions of the Outer Banks, but a lot of the Outer Banks is in that major to extreme category. And then when you combine that with your snow amount, that's how you get the overall impacts to be major and extreme, because you're combining the snow forecast and the blowing snow because of the wind, and that creates your extreme impacts. And then look at poor little me. Barely outside of that major impacts, which I agree with, honestly. I agree with that. I think that's reasonable. And look at poor Lucky. My goodness, poor dude. First week of college, day 1. He gets completely just dumped on with ice. Day 2, they're out from the ice. Day 3, still out because of it refreezing. Day 4, still out. Day 5, still out. And here we are now. Day 5's tomorrow. He's still going to be... Actually, I think he's off Fridays. He has 4 days of college a week, so he's been out all 4 days. Monday through Thursday, he's been out. And I guarantee he's going to be out Monday, Tuesday as well. Another thing I want to stress here, actually, now that I talked about Lucky, all good things, I want to show you another thing on why you're probably going to get those delays Monday into Tuesday. I'm going to go ahead and disable winter storm warnings. Holy cow, I'm over on the hour. I just realized that. Why didn't you guys tell me? You should have told me to quit yapping and end the stream. I went over my time. Where the heck is it? There it is. Extreme Cold Watch. We've got extreme cold watches. It's been a long time since I've seen this. It's been a long time since I've seen extreme cold watches for almost the entire state of North Carolina and the entire state of South Carolina, the entire state of Georgia, much of Florida, almost the entire state of Alabama. I mean, we are talking about a huge chunk of extreme cold warnings. And I haven't seen one in my area in a hot minute. It's probably been close to a year. I do think we had one probably in early 2025, but I haven't seen it in a while. I haven't seen it yet this winter. We probably had one last winter. And I know you guys out there in Alabama, Georgia, I know you guys had extreme cold warnings like literally last week. But out here in Virginia, and central North Carolina, I know we didn't get into those extreme warnings, into those extreme cold watches. This is watches right now. Oh, hey, look, they just removed me from it. Never mind, they put me back into it. That would have been hilarious. That would have been hilarious as right as I'm talking about this being the first one in like a year, they just completely put me out of it. Dangerously cold wind chills as low as 9 below. Wait, what? 9 below, 10 below. Which one is it? Make up your mind. 9 below or 10 below? Oh, they're saying... Oh, never mind. They're saying wind chills as low as 10 below could result in hypothermia if precautions are not taken. But, I mean, most likely, if you're outside, even with not taking precautions in freezing temperatures, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, most likely you're eventually going to get hypothermia. It's just when you have wind chills that are, 9, 10 degrees below, it's going to be a lot quicker. So, when is this in effect for? Saturday evening through Sunday morning. Let me see that. This is the official forecast from the National Weather Service. And I want to go look at temperatures, not snowfall. So what day is that? Today is the 29th, so that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, so Saturday morning, golly, help me. Let's look at the NAM now. This is the NAM. Oh my goodness. That doesn't even account for wind chill. 11 degrees Fahrenheit, not even including wind chill. I'll just sleep through it. It'll be no problem. Gracious. It is going to get cold. I don't know how you guys in the far north, central, and northeastern U.S. survive. How do you guys do it? Like, when it gets this cold, I just don't go outside. I can go outside. I'd say 40, like, upper 30s. Upper 30s is, like, when I start to not want to go outside. My perfect is, like I've said before, I'd say 60s all the way till 70s. Or maybe even into the mid 70s. Low 60s all the way to the mid 70s is like perfect. And then when you get to upper 70s into the 80s plus, it's a little bit too hot for my liking. And then when you get to 90 plus degrees, I don't go outside. And for cold, the coldest I'm going to be out and about doing things is, like I said, probably mid 30s. Even though I was out and about doing things, it was 31 degrees today. Someone, by the way, someone got in an accident very, very close to where I was. I was pulling out of the parking lot and the accident just happened, like literally 2-3 minutes before I left. And to me, it looked like somebody just simply wasn't paying attention, and they got rear-ended. So, probably, if I had to guess, I'm sure it was something to do with the ice on the road, because where that road is, there's a lot of trees that overhang over that portion of the road, and so it can create ice there. There's a long stretch of trees right at that road. Or someone just could have simply not been paying attention. So just be careful when you're driving, not only just with weather, but just as a whole. Life lesson right there. As somebody who's been driving a whole lot more than they should because I've been chasing a bunch of storms, the number one thing I see and the number one causer for any type of crazy action, phones. Phones. People not paying attention. I don't care what you're doing on that phone. If you've got that phone in your hand, you're paying attention to it, and that's going to cause you to be more distracted. So that's why I have that little holder in my car, which even that I don't like. To be honest with you, that's why I don't stream chases as much, because it's just dangerous. I don't want to do it. That's honestly what stops me from streaming more. Especially on upper echelon days. I just simply don't want to be a hazard on the road, you know? If I'm going through trying to find tornadoes or trying to chase a blizzard, the last thing I want to be doing is looking at my phone trying to see, if the stream's crashed yet. That's not what I want to be doing. So that's what probably makes me not want to stream the most. In the Gulf Coast blizzard, I was standing on the side of pajama pants and a simple t-shirt. You're insane. But I love doing that. I do like to do that. I do like to go outside and just enjoy the freezing cold for a minute, but about 1 minute, 2 minutes, I'm running back inside, regretting it. But it is pretty fun, honestly. I did it, I didn't do it to that extent, but I went outside today in shorts and a t-shirt in 30-degree weather, so. But not to that extent. You went a little extreme there. I haven't done that yet this year. Hey, maybe I gotta change that tomorrow. Or Saturday, actually. Saturday would give a better opportunity for that. Can I look at this? 500 millibars. Okay, I don't see any dry air in that. Yeah, the Euro's the one that shows the dry air. Look at the dry air slot on the Euro. At least it ain't over my house. Haha. Oh, crap. It just moved over to my house. Hey, it's still 70% humidity. But, like, that doesn't even matter. Like, look. You draw out where that is. Watch. Draw where that dry slot is. This is where the main dry slot is. And watch. Right there is where the main dry slot is, right? And watch the snowfall totals. Like, that's only affected, like, near Wilmington, just north of Wilmington. That didn't even affect, like, where Lucky's, like, Raleigh, Durham, Burlington, Greensboro, even close to Winston. Didn't even get affected by the dry air. So, I don't know. A lot of uncertainty, man. A lot of uncertainty, honestly. So much uncertainty. Oh, hey, what did Blacksburg just tweet? Another winter storm will bring snow chances to areas this weekend. This event will remain all snow with the highest totals expected across the Virginia-North Carolina border. That's me. Fortunately, this storm will be much easier to shovel. Along and south of the North Carolina border, 5 to 8 inches. Winter storm warnings in the west counties has already been issued. Watches remain in effect for areas east of the Blue Ridge, which they'll turn those into warnings shortly. And I believe... let's see. Yes, they just decreased my snowfall totals. I told you. Even though they just decreased it by 0.6, that's still something. And look at Greensboro. Wow. Greensboro was decreased from... Greensboro went from 9.4 to 8 inches on the new forecast. However, they still kept the high end. The high end for me is still 17 inches of snow. All right, let's read this discussion. 7:01 p.m. Eastern. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. What the heck? Yeah, that's for higher elevations only, probably, but they mentioned that for me. Why is it decreasing? Because they went too high on the snowfall totals. Okay, this says 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts here. 45, 50, not really going to notice a difference, let's be honest. But my National Weather Service went too high on the forecast, in my opinion. I think even 7, I think, is on the higher end. In my opinion. 26. Actually, according to my weather app at the bottom left, it is actually 25. So, haha, Ben, you're wrong. Where'd you get that from? Actually, this says 23. So which one do we listen to? Ben says 26. This weather app says 23. My other weather app says 25. I'm going to get this one too. Let's see what this one says. I got to unplug my phone. I'm overcharging the thing to death. This says 26. Hold on. Let me go see my other weather app. I've got so many weather apps. But I don't have the weather channel. If you have the weather channel, you're better off just going outside, putting your finger up in the air, and guessing what temperature it is. And this one says 25. Somewhere between 23 and 26 degrees. Also, the newest GFS 18Z downtrends again. I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced with these higher snowfall totals. I'm just not. I'm not at all. The only thing that shows like that type of event is the blend of models, which isn't the best thing to use. Yes, it's pretty good in the medium range, but when you get to the short range, actually, no, now that I think of it, it's not good a lot of the times. Even in any range, it's not that great. It's okay in all ranges, that's what I'd say. It's okay in all ranges, but I think the worst time to use it, now that I think of it, is the short range. And the reason why is because when you're in the short range, you have high resolution models that can depict those more mesoscale issues with the atmosphere, and the blend of models probably is not going to pick up on that as well. Unless it's something that's being shown between global models as well. So I feel like the worst time to use the blended models is probably within like the 24 to 48 hour time frame, which starts like now. All right, let's see. Anything else I wanted to show you guys here? I think I've yapped long enough. There's your WSSI again. Updated at 513. Extreme impacts, man. Look at this. Here's your impacts for ice. Haha, nothing. Rare North Carolina snowstorm right there. All snow. Maybe except for the extreme coastal areas may have a little bit of mixing issues, but oh yeah, also I forgot the blended models had that. Let me pull that up for you. Somebody just reminded me that. I just saw it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure that's on the blended models. Either it's on the blended models or the HREF, one or the other. Which one? Which one? Hold on, let me go back over here. Aha. There it is. So this is your... I just demolished my microphone right there. This is your snowfall rates. By the way. That's your snowfall rates. So we're not looking at 1 to 10, or rather 10 to 1. We're looking at like 19 to 1. I forgot which way you word it. Now I gotta go look at the snow product. 10 to 1, yeah. Yeah, we're looking at more of 19 to 1, or even 20 to 1 in some cases here. Between like 18, I'd say between 16 to 20. So each 1 inch of precipitation is going to be 14 to 20 inches of snow, depending on exactly where that falls. It's not your 10 to 1 like what this is. This is closer to your 10 to 1 here. This kind of wider, very light blue, almost white color is your 10 to 1. And when you get to dark blue, gracious day, you're 0 to 1. 1 inch of precipitation is 0 inches of snow. So there you go. Man, I mean, that's the thing with like these bands that are going to be coming through out here in like South Carolina. Even if you get under a light band of snow, you're still going to get good totals from it. You won't get great totals if it's a light band, but whoever's going to get under that heavy band, that's why we have that high end potential. That's why we have this high end forecast. Because if somebody can get under that high, really strong band, those high end totals, you're going to get up to 20 inches. Up to 20 inches if you could get in that really strong band. But all right, I'll just do a quick conclusion here. Do a little conclusion. Just in case anyone missed the beginning of the stream, just to ramble it all off real quick before we end. So this is the overview of our watches, warnings, and advisories. Winter storm warnings are being issued right now from west to east. Expect those to continue to go east until all areas in the blue, which is the winter storm watches, turns to warnings. I expect we will see blizzard watches or warnings depending on when they are issued. If they are issued soon, as in tonight, they'll be watches. If they are issued tomorrow afternoon or later, they will be blizzard warnings. So I expect blizzard warnings across coastal NC, coastal Virginia, maybe even one county into Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I don't really expect any changes with any others. Just a lot of this blue is going to turn to winter storm warnings, and then I think those blizzard watches or warnings in eastern NC. We do have our WSSI on this. So here's your overall impacts. We're expecting a major winter storm. Go back to that. That's our drought monitor. We're expecting a major winter storm on day 3. So that's Friday night, tomorrow night into Saturday. We're expecting 2 out of 5. Actually, that's 3 out of 5. I keep getting that confused. 3 out of 5 moderate impacts here in the orange. Major winter storm expected here in the red. And then those blizzard conditions, 5 out of 5 extreme impacts in the purple, which of course is located to coastal NC and into the Outer Banks of North Carolina. In terms of snow totals, here's the expected amount. There's your expected amount in that orange. That's looking at, I'll go ahead and do the outline like I did earlier. 6 to 8 in this yellow color here. 6 to 8 in here. You're looking at 8 to a foot in this area. 8 to a foot over here. And then, of course, some isolated spots in the higher elevations, and maybe some isolated spots if you can get lucky in South Carolina, Western NC. And then you're also looking at the expected amount of 12 to 17. Yeah, 12 to 17 inches of snow right in that orange. So that is the whole overview. In terms of timing, the only model run I semi-trust right now, even though I think it's underdoing snow totals on the northern side for northern NC, southern Virginia, is the high-res Canadian. So we'll begin with a kind of light to moderate band setting up over the central Appalachians into north central Tennessee, south central Kentucky. Going into tomorrow afternoon, that will really start to set up tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. is when that begins. It really begins to intensify closer to 1 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll continue to see that intensify until it becomes a heavy band of snow tomorrow afternoon, late tomorrow afternoon into the early evening hours, right about 4 or 5 p.m. That will continue to slowly but surely shift off to the south and west. And that's going to be the band that tilts into the Atlanta metro going into Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. As that is continuing to intensify, our overall jet stream is being more amplified. So we're going to see an enhancement of snowfall across coastal areas going from east to west. As we see that more amplification of the jet stream, we'll get more moisture into central NC starting Saturday morning. Going into Saturday afternoon, that's when this winter storm will be peaking. Saturday afternoon, about 3-4 p.m. should be the peak of this storm, where we should be seeing moderate heavy snow across all of these areas, with the heaviest banding on this particular model run keeps it right in this general vicinity here, just off of the coastal areas of the Carolinas. Then as we go into Saturday night, we'll continue to see the amplification of our low pressure off the coastal areas of North Carolina. That's when we have our best chance for blizzard conditions across the Outer Banks of North Carolina, into as far north as Virginia Beach, into as far south as maybe as far south as Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, generally that vicinity, going into Saturday night, Sunday morning. Then as we go into Sunday morning here, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, about 8 a.m. to noon Eastern time, we'll begin to see this really leave much of the U.S., and there may still be some flurries left over as you go into the afternoon hours, Sunday afternoon, but most of this will be out of here by the time we get to noon, 1 p.m. Eastern time in the coastal areas of the Carolinas. And then Sunday evening, once you get past 4 or 5 p.m., we should be completely dry. As for the New England states, really we're just looking at a brief opportunity of some intermediate snowfall going into starting Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, lasting all the way until this gets out of here Monday, extremely early Monday morning, Sunday night. So for the New England states, mainly from Sunday early morning all the way till Sunday night. And I really don't expect much. Really, we're just looking at a dusting being the most likely scenario across the eastern portions of Massachusetts. But there is a scenario where there is a higher end threat if we can get a bit quicker amplification of the low pressure as it leaves the U.S. There may be a brief hit of snowfall here where we could get local amounts upwards of 6 to 8 inches if you are extremely lucky. And that's going to do it. That is your whole overview. Just want to do a quick overview for those who missed the stream there. Once again, those outlines, that's where we are seeing, if this outline right in here, that's where you have that level 3 out of 5 for impacts. This outline in here is that level 4 out of 5 major impacts. This outline right here is that extreme 5 out of 5 impacts from the WSSI, which is, of course, your Winter Storm Severity Index scale. Alrighty, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this live stream. I went over because nobody told me I was yapping for so long. Blaming it on you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Unless, yeah, probably tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow. Yeah. I should see you guys tomorrow. I don't know exactly when. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Notification bell set to all so you know when I go live tomorrow. I appreciate all you guys tuning in here. And get those preparations finished. Rush them to completion, man. We ain't got no time with this one. Thankfully, it won't be as impactful if I can get this stupid thing to go down. There you go. Thankfully, this won't be as impactful as our last winter storm across these regions because it doesn't have ice. But we are still looking at a major winter storm that is expected with likely a blizzard being expected. Likely a blizzard being the overall outcome across the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Almost said likely a blizzard expected. Likely a blizzard across the Outer Banks of North Carolina into far eastern Virginia and extreme northeastern South Carolina. Go get you some food, Legacy. Yeah, but we have our first NASCAR race of the season this Sunday, and it's held in central North Carolina. So I expect that will be delayed to Monday, maybe even Tuesday, but likely Monday. Most likely they'll delay that to Monday, unless the snow gets out of here, like I said, Sunday morning. But it would be very treacherous conditions for the fans to travel in Sunday afternoon and evening. So if you're going to that race, please travel extremely carefully. We're looking at deadly temperatures, extreme temperatures, unlike what we see in the wintertime that often. We see these type of temperatures once, maybe twice a year each winter. It's pretty rare. Once or twice every winter here in North Carolina, Virginia, those wind chills down to -10. So very, very cold. So I will catch you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Again, don't know exactly when. I'll just be live when I'm live. I appreciate the mods for mod and chat. Appreciate everybody for being here. And I will catch you guys again in a live stream tomorrow. Stay safe. Watch the snowfall. Get those preparations rushed to completion tonight. There is still time tomorrow morning and early afternoon, but impacts begin tomorrow evening. Stay safe. Again, watch the snowfall. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye. stay safe, watch the snowfall. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Again, thank you much for mod chat. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye.